Bitcoin trading back above $96,000. We held above this fib level here. That's a good sign. We're going to talk about the roadmap ahead and what we're looking at here. So we're also going to talk about MicroStrategy. We're going to talk a little bit about a few other plays, including Vertiv. That's looking interesting now. And then also MSTX and that distribution that they got yesterday or today. Sorry, today. All right, let's take a look at it. Bitcoin, we're up $97,000. We're up 0.7% on the day, but you can see these green candles are stacking. So let me just go ahead and turn this off. Right here, you can see, all right, this started on December 31st, right? Okay, so we had that, and then the next day, the body stacked on top, and then on January 2nd, the body stacked on top, and today the body is stacking on top, green stacking on green, stacking on green. We've talked about this structure before, and it is very bullish. Now, it could break down, but I think as long as we hold above the 21-day moving average, which is EMA, which is currently at 96,440, then that would end up just being a bull flag sending us higher. And I actually have some confidence in that because, well, this month is going to be inauguration month. We might be getting some executive orders potentially near the end of the month. That would be super, super bullish for Bitcoin itself. And that would also be very good for our Bitcoin related stocks. Now, here's something that is also very, very, very interesting. So we finally bounced off the 50, right? We bounced off it once before, but we came right back down to it. But let me turn back on the drawings. We're going to come right here and look at this. All right, right here, this little structure right here. That is a double bottom coming in. And we're breaking out of this descending channel. So we had a descending channel. Those tend to break to the upside. Look what we're doing. So if we get away from this descending channel here, and tomorrow we open and close a candle completely disconnected from it, you better believe we're running back for $100,000. If we cross over $100,000, that's going to be the neckline for this double bottom here, which will lead to us retesting the previous all-time high of $108,000, potentially even eclipsing that up to $110,000. That's going to be really good for MicroStrategy. That's going to be really good for the miners. That's going to be really good for all of crypto. A couple of things to look at here. So we've got average force is going the way we want. We've got the stochastic ribbons. Look at that. It's been yellow for a while. Now we've got green on yellow, green on yellow. That is fantastic. That is also really, really good, showing the momentum is going our way. That's really good. Now, one thing that I don't like is that volume's been really low basically all of December. All of December and including this week, volume has been low. So we've been doing all these moves on low volume. I don't love that, but I'll take it unless we get a curl over of the stochastics and the average force starts going to the downside again. That's when I'll start worrying about it. But right now I'm looking at a double bottom that will eventually take us to 208,000, potentially even 110,000, maybe even above. If we get an executive order that makes Bitcoin a reserve asset, you better believe 120, 150, they're going to front run the government so hard. And it's going to be beautiful. All right, that is fantastic. All right, let's go take a look at MSTR. So MSTR is following, and we talked about how yesterday, how I was saying in previous cycles, it never got back up above this structure right here in the previous cycle. This structure, so it did this exact same thing, right? It did this huge blow off, came down, made a structure about like 20-30% below that. Let me see if that's the correct thing. Yeah, a structure about 20-30% below that blow off top, came down about 50-60%. Then came back up to that structure that was 20-30% below the blow off top, and then never went higher than that again. And we talked about that. And I think that that is very likely that that could happen again this time. Now, that could be frustrated. And the only time that I will feel like that has been frustrated is if we get a candle that opens and closes above this area right here. These two candles right there, those two bodies right there, what is that? 139.93, something like that. I think I responded to a comment with a slightly lower number than that. I think it was this wick right here, 138, I think it was that I said, but it's actually, I'm looking at, now that I'm looking at it a little more closely, it's about 439 something, about 439, 440. We get a candle that opens and closes above that structure, then this is frustrated and it could move up as high as $500 again. Then that's opened up. Until then it's not opened up. And you can also see the stochastic ribbons are still going down. Average force is still getting worse. BX extender is showing some signs of life there, but nothing to write home about. Anyways, that is what's going on with MicroStrategy. Now we are starting to break this downward trend line here. We break that, we could move up, back up to 365 and test the bottom of the structure here, but not much more than that. Okay, MicroStrategy MSTX, the 2x levered fund. So you got your payout, I believe it was like $14 and some odd cents per share. I got a payout of like $1,500 because I had over 100 shares. That's pretty great. Now we're up 15%. We've got almost half of this dip back. Let's take a look. This was the dip for the X date, and it was 20, well, it was overall 35%. So we've got about half of that back, a little less than half of that back. So if we can move ourselves back up about that much, let's see, right now, since then we're up 22%, 36% would take us back up to $48. Not a huge move, but that does get me close to break even. I did double down here yesterday. On this yesterday, I doubled down. So I now have 200 shares of this, and I'm looking for just a move up to about $70. That would get me back to break even. At $70, I'm looking at selling a covered call right at the money, maybe even in the money a little bit, like maybe even like a 68 or a 67 call option for like a, 2-3 weeks out. That would be, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, something like that, whatever it's at that point. And make it real short so that it could execute, and I end up selling for $67,000, $68,000 plus I get my premium. That would be really, really great for me personally. Again, on MSTX, I don't really expect MSTX to get back above 120 again. I expect it to test 120 at some point, but unless we get a like much higher than $150,000 Bitcoin, I don't really expect MSTX to go much higher than even like 120 to 135 is where I'd be saying this thing would max out unless Bitcoin does something extraordinary. Okay, so we're keeping an eye on that. If you're in the miners, they're doing exceptional today. Miners are doing exceptional today. Mara is getting very close to that area where I'm ready to do go back into my calls again. I'd be looking for maybe a 35 or a 40, something that doesn't make my my sale on the 31st a wash sale, something that makes that not a wash sale. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see above 1980. I want to see above 1980, preferably even above $20, and then I'd be back on the Mara train looking for this thing to break out. So we're losing this trend line here, so that's great. I want to see this trend line right here break. Once that breaks, I'm looking for a move all the way back up to 30, maybe even as high as $33 to $35 on Mara. And I'm looking for that to happen in a matter of days. Okay, so once it breaks that trend line, matter of days. Wolf, man, if you were on the Wolf has been quite the ride lately. We did this big old dump off, and it's coming up on resistance here at 650. 650 is going to be a rough one. You want to watch for Wolf that could reject there and come all the way down. But if Bitcoin continues to drive higher, we could expect it to break 650 and then test about 750, maybe even $8. CoreZ was another one that's been interesting. CoreZ's done with this downtrend. We closed today above 1505, and Bitcoin does not crater. CoreZ is going to go back to the top of the range. All right, or it's at least going to test the bottom of this ascending trend line here, which would be about 1634. If we can get above that, then we'd be looking at it coming back to the top of that ascending trend line, or ascending channel, excuse me. CleanSpark finally showing some life with 11% up. We're coming out of this descending wedge. So this descending wedge, we're coming out of that descending wedge. Those are very powerful. This could easily move up to $13, maybe even as high as $14.11. So watch for that. When that for the warrants, that would be really good. For the warrants, we get up there again. We can see this thing trading back over $1 pretty quickly. I accumulated my average on my warrants, on my 13,000 warrants, is 55 cents. I got a lot in the low 60s. I got a lot even way lower than that. At this point, you've had lots of time to accumulate these. If you're accumulating them, if you believe CleanSpark is going to do what I believe CleanSpark is going to do, I'm just sitting and waiting. I'm waiting for this thing to hit 5, 6, maybe even $7 at some point in time in the next 6 months or so. Especially if we get the positive moves from the president-elect that we're expecting, then we will likely see these warrants pay us out quite nicely. Bit Digital doing very, 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 very well today. So this is the month of Ethereum. So this month, next month, so basically the next 90 days are the days of Ethereum, and we are expecting as much from it. We're expecting some significant moves out of Bit Digital based on their Ethereum holdings. You can see that the stochastic ribbons are in fact pointing the right way, that everything's looking really, really, really good. Really good there. BitF is still only 5% up. Right, it's up 14%. BitF is only up 5%. I'm sorry to say it, but Bitfarms continues to be a significant underperformer because of that Riot exposure. So Riot has too much exposure to this stock, meaning that if you own Riot, you own Bitfarms, so there's no point in owning Bitfarms. And institutional investors look at things based on efficiency. They don't care about the business. They don't care about anything else other than the efficiency of making money. And for them, owning Riot is a more efficient way of making money with its exposure to Bitfarms than owning Bitfarms directly. And that is simply the truth. And that's how it's going to be until it's not like that anymore, okay? Basically, it's going to be like that until it's not. And then when it's not, it's going to happen so fast that we're not going to be able to catch it. So I'm not even worrying about it. Like, we're going to see gap ups like we did back here in November. Like, when it's just gap up, gap up, gap up. That's how that's probably going to react when it finally turns around. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be in it when that happens because it's taken too long. It's been beaten down too much. And there's no way to know when it will finally catch up. I think it will. I just don't know when. And because of that, the risk is too high and I can't be in it. That's all there is to it. IREN got so close to me cutting it. It got so close to me cutting it. Above 1159, I'm feeling very, very, very good about IREN. Let's go look at the weekly here so we can look at that cup and handle that we were watching. All right, so we got that cup and handle. It came all the way to the very bottom of where I'd be willing to say that cup and handle is done. So I think that this move here is over. We came even lower than I thought it would. So we're going to remove that. Cup and handle is still technically intact. Still technically intact. We break this line right here. We're quickly going to be back up to 15 bucks. We cross 15 bucks. We're going to go all the way up into the $19, $20 range. So we're watching IREN for that move. That's going to be very, very nice for us. I think, let's see what's going on with HUT. HUT, it needs to get above 23.96 before I'm feeling confident about HUT, but it is trying to break out. That's nice. Cypher, man, that you got beat down. It still needs to get above 570 before I'd be feeling good about Cypher. I think Hive is also a massive underperformer, much like Bitfarms lately. It's got to get up above 361 before there's any interest in it at all, before it even has a chance at running for this green line, let alone this yellow line up here at 551. So Luna is significantly underperforming as well. But again, remember, this was a lotto play. This was a very, very small position for me. I didn't expect huge things out of it. I was hopeful, but of course, hope isn't a strategy. That's why it is a very, very small position, as it is, in fact, a lotto play. Let's take a look at CAN. How's CAN doing? Okay, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. So CAN needs to get above these wicks right here. 240. It's got to get above 240. Once CAN gets above 240, this looks like a double bottom, and we have room all the way up to $3 again. So if you're in CAN and you've been holding, watch that 240 level. If that breaks to the upside, we got room all the way to $3 before that thing slows back down. What about BitDeer? BitDeer has been just strong. It never broke this 21-day moving average, and that is really good. It's strong. It is looking strong. I am looking at it to come up to about 2750-ish. Honestly, BitDeer is going to have a really good time. Let's take a look. Anything else I want to cover? Should we take a look at Riot real quick? Riot. Riot can get above this, above 12 bucks. It can get above 12 bucks. Riot has, room up to the middle of the range here, 13. There's a lot of resistance above it though, so it's got to get above. It's got to get above $13 before I have like confidence. Right, it's going to go back to 15, even 16 bucks. But it has been getting a lot of attention lately, so that is one to pay attention to as well. All right, let's take a look at some of our other plays here. So, NVDA is above 140 again. So we close this today above 140. We have room all the way up to 150. All right, basically room all the way up to 150 on NVIDIA once that breaks. That's going to be really good. We've got an inverted head and shoulders coming in on this thing. Let's take a look. We've got a shoulder there, head and a shoulder there. Neckline is basically here. Let me draw this. Let me grab that neckline for you. Let me delete these real quick so I don't forget them later, but let's grab that neckline. So that neckline is basically going to be right here and right there. Okay, we're above that neckline. We're above that neckline. We close anywhere above here. We've got room all the way up to that 150, maybe even a little higher than 150 on NVIDIA. I have some calls on NVIDIA. I'm just going to hold them. I bought them out, 90 to 100 days. We're just going to hold it and watch it go. Watch it roll on up. ARM beat Qualcomm in that the lawsuit. They won the lawsuit, I believe. And since then the drop on them has halted, and they are breaking out again, and they will be working that. Even QCOM is starting to come out of that a little bit. AMD is one I called out last week. We called it out back here. It went up. It came back down. Started going up again. I'm still looking at AMD as a huge turnaround story for the year. It came down into the fib bottom of the fib cloud on the daily, which is huge for a pick stock like AMD, especially when exposed to the AI space. We are watching this one still. I have 5 calls for this one all the way out to January 2026. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You can see that the stochastic here is still looking a little bit wispy and weak. So you may not want to follow in on this yet. Potentially, once it gets above this blue line, 127.03, though, game is on all the way up to 134 and possibly even beyond that here for that move. I'm looking for, honestly, I'm looking to hold this thing till June or July, and I really want to see it come back up to the 160s, potentially even, 180s if things go really, really well. It's been beaten down for a long time. And honestly, they make processors better than Intel. They don't make AI chips or GPUs better than NVIDIA, but they are very popular in laptops. They're very popular in consoles. They're very popular in a lot of places. And they have room to grow, and they are going to capture part of the market. They're not going to get the lion's share like NVIDIA, but they do have enough room, I think, to get back up to like with the 150, the high 100s, honestly, in 2025. So I'm watching this one. I have calls on it. They are a bit of an early entry, but that is where I am on those. Vertiv, this is the one I got into today. So I got into this one today. This is a double bottom, and I'll draw it out for you real quick. Double bottom. We got a bottom here and a bottom there. That neckline was crossed today at 120.98. We close anywhere above 120.98, and we're basically confirmed all the way up to about 130, 132 in that range there for Vertiv. And so I bought a call for a little over a month out to see it come up. I'm looking for a move up to like 135, maybe even all the way to the top of the range at 140. That would be the best case scenario. Look at this. So we've got the stochastic ribbon pointing down here. The yellow one is pretty much going straight up. It's about to turn green on the slow one. Turns green on the slow one and follows through. You will likely see that move up to like that 140 level on that. ACMR is another one we've been watching for a while. It's starting to break this trend line here, but it's doing so very weakly. So I'd want to see it get above this blue line here and then watch it up to about $17. And from there, I think we'll start seeing some resistance again. BX extenders going up. Average force is going the right way. Stochastic ribbons, though, are looking all wispy and weak, so I'm not super convinced in that move yet at this time. Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla had this big drop off. I was in puts on this double top here. I got into those puts right here on the 30th. I sold them. Honestly, I sold them yesterday, not near the bottom, about halfway down the bottom, and made a couple $100. That was a really nice move. Today, we're seeing a back test of the 21-day moving average. We could come as high as 407 and still be in a downtrend. Ultimately, I think Tesla will likely test this structure back here, the top of it, about 365, 363, somewhere in there before it starts really turning around again. But today, maybe even on Monday, we'll see it kind of crawl up and curl back over. Google finally showing a little bit of strength here. So Google, you interesting character, you. All right, so we're going to turn off my drawings here. So we came all the way up to 203, came all the way down to the 21-day moving average, went all the way back up to 198, came all the way back down to the 21-day moving average, EMA, excuse me. And we're bouncing again. So right now we've got room all the way back up to $200, basically. We're getting lower highs and higher lows. So we're compressing. This is compression. As long as we don't make a new lower low underneath 188.90, we could make a run up for 198.16. And if we cross 198.16, we're going to hit $200, okay? So BX extender isn't the right way. Average force isn't the right way. Stochastic ribbons aren't the right way. So none of the momentum looks great on Google right now. But the volume has been low. So notice that we were crawling up on growing volume, or crawling down, sorry, on growing volume, and we're going up on, we're making a doji on pretty low volume today. So that's not good. I want to see a nice big green volume candle come in real soon, and that will give me signs that we're going to go higher. We are looking at something of a bullish pennant here, and I'll draw that out real quick. Let me turn off some indicators here so I can do this. All right, here we go. So let me do the drawing here. So we came up, right? That's our pole. And this right here is our pennant looking shape right there. That's a lot of bad drawing, but you can kind of see it, right? Okay, so as long as we don't go beneath the 382 here on the fib, which we tapped twice, right, but did not break. Third time we might break it. If we break it, we're coming all the way down to 184, and that's going to be bad. This is my line in the sand here, though. We lose 188.67, and I'm going to say that this bullish move is over, and we're likely going to come back down further down. And I don't really like seeing that or saying that, but it could happen. Now, if we break above, let's go here, we break above this trend right here, break above that trend right there, we're very likely going to retest 198, potentially even 200 again on Google. That'd be really, really nice for us. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about on here today? Palantir did a little dip, right? Now it's coming back up again. I made some money on some covered calls, and I sold another covered call, of course, yesterday, and it came back up. I should have paid attention to these 2 wicks on bottom. That meant that it was going to come up again. But I don't think necessarily that that Palantir is ready to do go above 85. I really don't think it's ready to go above 85. I think once it gets up there, we're going to see some more insider selling, driving it right back down to the 21 again, just like it's done in the past. So that's what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for this to be a bit of a bear flag on the way up and then come back down. I want to see a double top out of this thing, and I want to see it hit the 50-day moving average. It has not touched the 50-day moving average, has not touched it. Honestly, since back here, last time it was in contact with it was August. Was the last time it touched the 50. I'd like to see it come back and at least, pretend like it wants to interact with the 50-day moving average, and then I'd go quite long on it, which is currently at 65.84. I think I might add another 100 shares to this thing if it gets down there. Boom, and then take it on its way up. So that's what I'm looking at for all these things right now. PayPal's doing okay. SMR. SMR is another one I got into a call on today. Look at all those drawings. There's so many drawings. Anyways. Volume profile, we came down into this big spike of volume, and we're closing. We're likely going to go above that today. If we close above that today, again, we could be seeing something of a double bottom. Now, let me turn off the volume profile. Right now, we do have resistance up here at 2069 and 2081. We got to get above 2081 to really, really lift this thing off. In fact, I don't think I entered it. No, I did not enter this yet. Sorry, I did not enter this yet because this resistance is right here. Sorry, I shouldn't have said I entered it. I did not enter this yet. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Anyways, so we lost this trend line here. We broke it out, right? And now we're creating some double bottom, a double bottom right here. Bottom and a bottom. Got a neckline technically of 2245, but this trend line, if it breaks, if this trend line right here breaks, which is currently just right here at 2070, boom, that trend line breaks, we're likely going to start going up again. We go up again on this thing. We don't have significant resistance until we hit 24.60, almost $25, and we could see it return back up to like that 32 in a hurry. So we're up 12% today. That's pretty exciting. SMR, I'm watching it closely. I'm watching for that move. We came down to the 618, right? Came down to the 618. If we break this trend line and we get above this here, that's a double bottom. That double bottom is going to take us all the way back up to about $27, $28. So take a look at that. Take a look at it. I mean, the lowest move would be 25, and then like 27, 28 would be a good move, and 32 would be like the extended move. But we're at the bottom on the stochastics. We want to see this turn green. I want to see the BX extender turn green. I want to see average force get smaller and smaller for that. So SMR starting to finally pick up and look good again. And that's about all I've got for you today. So please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.